Hi everybody, Nick Bernstein here with another video on technical career topics as well as general Linux advice and how to be a sysadmin kind of stuff. So today I want to talk about something that I see people not really think about a lot of the time, and it's really too bad, which is what is my hourly rate? And your hourly rate is super, super, super important. So what I did over here is I put together a little script, and I think this may be a little bit too small of a font size. Let me go ahead and try to increase this in my preferences. So if I go over here to my profiles, too many profile preferences. That's the right one. So we got monospace regular. Let's go bump this way up there to 32 and see if hopefully that's a little bit more visible for you guys. In fact, I might even want to go a little bit higher than that. So I'll make this real big. Go to 48. Let's see how that does. All right, that's real big. So hopefully this should be okay for you guys to see it. So what I did here is I wrote a little script, and I think this is a great exercise, especially for those of you guys who are newer to Unix and Linux. These are great little projects for you guys to start using shell scripting on. So I wrote a little script that calculates an hourly rate. So in this example, what I did is I took a salary of $50,000, a 40-hour work week, and then this is 0 is no overtime, and a 30-minute commute in each direction, which is, at least in the US, about the standard commute time that most people have. So if we go ahead and look at this, and we say with $40,000 or $50,000 a year, and a 40-hour salary, kind of based employment. So you're coming in 40 hours a week. You're not doing any overtime, and you don't keep it really simple. So here what we do is we've got an hourly rate of $21 an hour. So that's just kind of what it is. That's what you're going with. Useful thing to be aware of, to kind of compare to other potential gigs. Something like this is really, really useful if you're getting into IT and you're looking at, a salary that's, and not necessarily $50,000, but whatever that salary is in your area. You can use it as sort of a starting place, and then you can sort of factor in how stressful, of a job working in IT is compared to other things, right? So if we go look at the next piece, which is going to be, let's go ahead and change the base salary to $45,000. Right, so we get $45,000, and we're still going to assume 40 hours a week. But now what we're going to go do is we're going to go change the overtime to an hour and a half per week. Right, so every week you're expected to come in an extra hour and a half for deployments that are after hours or whatever it is. Right. So let's go do that first. So now what we go see is that our hourly rate drops to, well, actually, let's go do this. Let's go change this back to $50,000. So we're going to go ahead and have a $50,000 with an hour and a half worth of overtime a week. So that drops down to 21, or we go down from 21 to $20 an hour. So actually, let me do this just to kind of make it a little bit nicer. So, all right, we now have $20 an hour. So let's say that this job is a little bit further out, and instead of it being, an hour total per day, it's now an hour in each direction. So let's say that we're going to go ahead and have 2 hours every day worth of commute, right? So, and I think you should consider your commute time as part of your hourly rate, because that's time that you couldn't be doing something else. So now we get an hourly rate of $18 an hour. So let's go back to sort of our original kind of setup where we had $50,000, 40 hours a week with, 0 overtime, and we've got 1 hour. So let's go change this to $45,000, right? And we'll see how this compares. Whoa, $45,000 in an hourly rate, you are making more money per hour, right, than you would make if you were going to go ahead and make $50,000, right, with a different amount of overtime and a different commute schedule. So that's pretty interesting. Let's go back and do another sort of up arrow, and we're going to go ahead and say that instead of having an hourly commute, you work from home, right? So you get to work from home. So at that point, your hourly rate goes up to $22 an hour. And this is an interesting thing to think about, and I think it's something that a lot of people don't consider. I've seen this on various different forums and stuff where people are saying, "Hey, I got this job offer. I'm not sure if I should take it." And they sort of go into the differences in salary, and they're pretty close, but one of them has a significantly longer commute time. Well, the answer to that is probably what is your hourly rate, putting everything else aside. If you like both of the environments, they seem equally cool, they seem equally interesting. The technologies that they work with are equally suited to you. Well, then looking at the hourly rate might be a really, really useful thing for you guys to go ahead and look at. So if you want a little bit of homework for for this, what you can do is you can try to go ahead and put this script together. It's really, really, really simple. I'm not going to go show you what it looks like, but I'll give you guys a couple hints. If I go use the let command, I can say let foo equals, 3 plus 4. Right, whoops. Be helpful if I had a plus symbol, right? And then I can do an echo $foo. And so that's the first way to go do algebraic math, just really simple arithmetic. If you need to go ahead and do decimal math, and we go ahead and do the same thing, right, you'll see that actually doesn't work, right? So that doesn't work out there. So let's go ahead and click on maximize. There we go. So we can see that this freaks out there. So in that case, we can go use the BC command. BC is kind of strange. If you type BC, it drops you into a calculator shell effectively. So we can hit Control C to quit out of there. But what we can also go do is we can echo things to BC. So if I say echo 3 plus 4.5, and I pipe that into BC, right, I can go ahead and, what did I do there? Oh, 3 plus 4.5 pipe to BC. Now we can go ahead and see that this is 7.5, and it can go do decimal math absolutely fine. So between the two of those, hopefully you should be able to go ahead and put a little script together that calculates your hourly rate. And a very, very useful thing to go ahead and think about. So anyway, quick little video this time. Just wanted to kind of bring that to your attention and give you guys something to think about. I think that when you're evaluating what position you want to go look at, these are definitely some questions that you guys might want to ask. So later on when we start talking about interviewing, you should be asking questions during the interview. The interview is not just the company interviewing you. It's also you interviewing the question, or the company, I should say. So, you're going to want to ask some questions. And those questions might be, how many hours worth of overtime am I going to make? Or am I going to be required to do on average per week? Right? Do you have the option to be an hourly employee as opposed to a salary employee? Most places don't anymore. It's one of the reasons why I kind of lean a little bit towards being a contractor or a consultant is if I have a project or a client that's going to require me to put in a lot of extra hours, at least it's fair, right? I know that I'm going to be compensated for that time. Whereas I've worked jobs, and this is literally true, where I was working 90 hours a week on a really light week. I worked for a company. I'm not going to say the name of the company. You can probably guess what it was if you look at some of these other videos. But I worked for a company where we got acquired, and they let go pretty much everybody in the operations team aside from myself and one other gentleman. And basically what we did is we alternated just staying at the office. So he had a cot in his office. I'd go sleep in my car sometimes. And it was ridiculous. That was for like, 4 or 5 months. And, on paper, I was making a fantastic salary. The amount of money that I was making, when I talked to, close friends and we sort of discussed financial stuff, they were really like, wow, that's crazy. But if you broke it down into the hourly rate, suddenly it didn't seem so great. So those kind of things are something to really kind of consider, and to look at when you guys are considering doing these kind of interview processes and stuff like that. So thank you guys for taking the time to watch. I hope this was a useful video. I hope the audio sounds okay on this. I got a new little preamplifier kind of thing, so I'm trying that out for the first time in this video, and hopefully we get those settings dialed in and it sounds decent. So thank you guys for taking the time to watch. I've mentioned this before, but I do training. So if you guys are interested in Linux classes, I specifically do SUSE Linux classes right now. I'm probably going to be adding some more down in the future. And those are certification classes. So they're a little bit more expensive than other places, but they'll include, I think, a voucher for the certification. Double check with the sales guys if you decide to go ahead and sign up. So you can go see down there below the kind of thing. There's my website, which is nicholasbernstein.com. And if you go to nicholasbernstein.com/training, it's got some links to Fastlane, which is the company that I trained through for most of my stuff. And they're one of the biggest training companies in the world, and a reputable company and all that kind of stuff. So that's a good place to go if you're interested in doing more Linux training stuff and you would like to go do it with me, which would be awesome. And otherwise, if you've enjoyed this video, if you could hit the like button down below. If you're new to these and you're interested in getting some advice on IT career topics, as well as various different pieces of technology, a little bit down the road, we're probably going to get into more kind of foundational stuff and actually talk about various different commands and kind of get into some basic Linux skills and things like that. So if you're interested in that, subscribe to the topic below, right? So that'd be cool. And with questions or topics and videos like this, it's very useful for me to kind of see what you guys are wondering, what you guys have questions about. So if you have any specific questions, I would love to hear from you. Put a comment in the below with the things that you're curious about, questions or comments, things that you've sort of factored into stuff like this before. Have you interviewed at a job and gotten in something that seemed really, really good, and then you realize, it's going to take me an hour and a half to get there every day, figured out that the hourly rate is going to be lower and turned it down? I don't know, right? If you have, give me that feedback in the description, comment section down below. I'd love to hear kind of other people's experience with this. So thank you guys again for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and hopefully we'll see you guys in another video.